What is going on, YouTube fam? Back with another video, and today we're going to be reacting to United States tipping culture. Is tipping culture out of control? I got a video for you guys right here, which from CNBC, which talks about U.S. tipping culture. And now I haven't watched this video, but I'm guessing that I'm going to agree with some things, and I'm not going to agree with some things. So let's go ahead and watch this video, and we're going to give our thoughts on it. So let's not waste too much time.
When was the last time you purchased something and you weren't asked for a tip? Yeah, I can't remember either.
Tipping culture has gotten...
Well, when I go to Walmart, I don't get asked for a tip. But, I mean, that was very broad, so I kind of get what they mean, right?
out of control. I get up to the pay window and she's like, how much do you want to tip? What am I going to tip you for? I'm in the drive-thru. Oh my God.
Yeah. 100% off rip. Exactly. I 100% agree. This tipping culture has gotten out of hand. I remember even years ago, before I had left overseas, so I lived overseas like for 3 years from like 2016 to 2019. And prior to that, you know, you went to certain restaurants, not certain restaurants, but every time you went to a restaurant, they'd ask for a tip, right? Or what, not ask, but you know, it's on the bill. You want to give a tip or you don't want to give a tip, really up to you. Now I've noticed a lot of places, like even going to like Dunkin' Donuts, you just ask for something up front at Dunkin' Donuts. And they have on the machine when you go to pay, asking for a tip. And I'm like, what am I tipping you for? I didn't sit down and eat. You're doing a to-go order for me to take, and you're and I'm not saying they're expecting a tip. I don't want to say that the employees are expecting a tip, but I just find it kind of crazy how after I come back from overseas, it seems like every machine is asking for a tip, especially for when I was overseas. There's no tipping. This is a uniquely U.S. thing. So, but let's go ahead and keep going and let's keep watching the video.
Tips have been on the rise for decades. During the 1950s, people commonly tipped 10% of the bill. By the 1970s and 1980s, that jumped to 15%. Today, people tip anywhere from 15 to 25%. According to one 2022 survey, consumers said they tipped more than 21% on average.
Nowadays,
I'm not gonna lie, you see that machine that was right there? I have been guilted into tipping with those because I feel bad. I mean, I'm not supposed to give them a tip. They're just literally taking my order. And I know somebody in the back is preparing my order, but I'm not sitting down. I'm not being served. And those machines, I've actually felt guilted into actually tipping those. And those are the machines that I'm talking about. I mean, everywhere you go now, reason example, I went to Chipotle today. I swipe my card, I get my order, they make it on the spot. It's nothing special. You see them all putting the ingredients that you ask for. And then the end screen asks, would you like to tip X, Y, and Z amount percent? And I'm like, no, I don't want to tip X, Y, and Z amount. What am I tipping for? For me having to tell you what I wanted, like all the ingredients that I wanted on my bowl, and then you giving it to me? That's crazy.
there are people who argue 20% is kind of a cheap tip.
While the percentage that consumers are tipping at full-service restaurants in the past couple of years has remained about the same, in the fourth quarter of 2022, the number of tips provided at full-service restaurants grew 17%. Meanwhile, the tip frequency at quick-service restaurants such as coffee shops and fast food chains rose 16% during the same time period.
What we're seeing now nationwide is something that is known as tipflation. At every opportunity, we're being presented with a tablet that's asking us how much we'd like to tip.
In many cases, not only replacing the old-fashioned tip jars that you could feel good about throwing some spare change into, but actually suggesting tip amounts, often right in front of the employee receiving that.
Yeah, this machine, and this is what I'm saying, this machine has guilted me into tipping a bunch of times, or guilted me or shamed me, whatever you want to call it, because you're right in front of the person. And so you know they're gonna hand you the receipt, so they might look at the receipt, I don't know, but they might see that you didn't tip, and so you feel bad, and so but it feels pressure. It feels like a pressure. It feels terrible to have to actually go through this.
Tip. Not to mention also your dinner date and the dozen or so people standing behind you in line.
And it's gone beyond just the tablets.
The other day, I was using the Hopper app to book a hotel, and it wasn't until I confirmed my payment that I realized my hotel was $10 more expensive. It turns out, Hopper assumed I wanted to add a tip.
That is crazy. Why would they assume that you want to add a tip? So they didn't even give her the choice? Or just, why? Like, what do you do? I'm just booking something online. I haven't even, so this is getting so insane that now just booking something without even having received the service yet, without even having received the product, she hasn't done anything, right? Let's say the trip is a month from now. They're assuming that she wants to tip, but she doesn't even know what her experience is going to be like yet. This is absolutely insane. This is actually nuts.
While the first federal minimum wage law was passed in 1938, it wasn't until almost 3 decades later when the tip minimum wage was established. In 1991, the federal minimum wage for tipped employees was set at $2.13, which is what it remains at as of March 2023.
As far as I know, the United States is the only country that exempts tipped workers from having to receive the full minimum wage.
In 43 states, it is legal to pay tipped workers less than the standard minimum wage, because tips presumably make up that difference.
One, that's kind of crazy that tipped workers minimum wage is $2.13. Two, yes, tipping does make the difference. I used to work a tip job. I used to deliver food, but I don't think that that's fair. This is what my problem with tipping is. My problem with tipping is that tipping has become a way for the owners and people who run these businesses to offset the cost of customers. And the crazy thing is that then the employees get mad with us as the customers, right? So I always tip very well. Whenever I go to places, I always go out of my way to tip very well whenever I can, right? I never not give a tip. And that's why I don't like going out with my brother, because my brother, he's the type that he doesn't like to tip. So it makes me feel like secondhand embarrassment with him. But we shouldn't be the ones subsidizing somebody's paycheck. I think that the employers should still pay fair wages to their employees. And if you want to tip, you tip. I've seen so many videos of people online literally crying because they didn't make anything on tips for the day. Like they had 10 tables and they made like $5 for the day. And then they're angry at the people that came in there and didn't tip them because that's their livelihood, but you're angry at the wrong person. You should be angry at your boss for not paying you enough, to the fact that you have to live off of other people's generosity. I don't think that that's fair. I don't think it's not my responsibility to subsidize your wage. Although again, I want to emphasize this. I tip very well whenever I go out. I tip. I have no problem with tipping. My problem comes from the entitlement, and my problem comes from the anger from a lot of these servers or a lot of these people that think that they deserve a tip from us or a livable wage from us. And it shouldn't be us paying your bills. It should be your boss, not your bills, I'm sorry, but your wages. It should be your boss. A tip should be something extra above what you already make. Kind of like hey, here, you did a nice job, here you go, boom. Not that if you don't get tipped, how are you going to make rent this month? That shouldn't be on us. Granted, a lot of restaurants have, like, if you don't make the minimum wage, they'll like bump it up to minimum wage. But again, it shouldn't have to be this way. It should be that the restaurants or the service industry pays their employees a minimum wage, a livable wage, and the tipping's just icing on the cake. And then my problem with this whole tipping thing again too, with everywhere you go, like if I just go to Starbucks, like in this video, I got to tip you for you just doing your job. You prepared me my coffee. That's literally your job. You didn't do anything above and beyond what's considered your basic job or service. I shouldn't have to tip you for that. But I'm going to keep this one short and sweet. Let me know what you think. What do you think about U.S. tip culture? Tip culture seems to be a thing only in the U.S. I've lived overseas before, and it is not a thing. When I lived in Korea, it is actually a disrespect to leave a tip at least in Korea. I don't know. That's the only country I lived outside of the U.S. It is actually a form of disrespect to leave a tip when you go out to eat someplace. But yeah, let me know what you guys think in the comment section. Be sure to like, subscribe, hit that bell, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.